Okay, we are on the last lesson of the unit. We're in chapter 3, lesson 3.4, which is we're going to recommend an actual heating system. So the first activity is a warm-up. It's question 109 in your notes. So if you click on the link in 109, it'll take you to Amplify. We have two objects that have just been pushed together, sample A and sample B. Look at these two samples, answer the questions down here in order to complete this warm-up activity. So pause, complete it. All right, next we are going to move on to a modeling activity. We're going to model the difference in the temperature change between the two schools. Um, so the modeling activities look like this. We have part 1 and part 2. Part 1 represents the one with the smaller heating system, part 2 with the larger heating system. So the model is going to be somewhere along the room. I'll have it labeled. You're going to show the direction of energy transfer in these boxes. You're going to show what the equilibrium is after the energy transfers, and then you're going to show the temperature there. So go ahead and pause and complete these models, and then come back to answer some follow-up questions. Okay, the follow-up questions 110 and 111. The follow-up questions to the modeling activity: how is the model in part 1 different from the model in part 2? So those are the two sides of the page. How can you use this model to help explain how or why the groundwater system works better? Okay, last thing we're going to do is the reasoning tool. Reasoning tools help us connect our evidence to our claims. So this is where people miss the most when we write CERs, is on the reasoning section. They don't actually explain why the evidence supports or refutes the claims that we have. So we have evidence, we have claims, and the reasoning tool connects the two right here. It says this evidence matters because, and then you explain why it's important and why it supports the claim. So question 112, today we will use this reasoning tool to think about the evidence to support the claim that the groundwater heating system will warm the air in the school more. So I think 112 has a link to the reasoning tool. We're going to treat this as a pre-writing activity. It will help us when we write our CER. So this is what it looks in Amplify. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to fill out the first evidence piece together. The first evidence piece says evidence source, thermal energy sim. So our data from the sim is when we did a small sample to represent the water heater at 39 degrees and a large sample to represent the groundwater at 30 degrees. And then we found out their equilibrium. So the groundwater, even though it started out cooler, the equilibrium temperature, once we made it connect with the air, was actually higher. Even though it was cooler, it had more total energy because there were more molecules. So this one helps heat the school better. So when we look at our reasoning tool, what are we going to say? We have this evidence source, the thermal energy sim. This matters because it shows us that the equilibrium temperature is higher with the groundwater system. Therefore, and then here it says the groundwater system will warm the air in the school more. So we have our evidence, we have our claim, this connects the two. So you are going to go ahead and go through these other three pieces of evidence explaining why they matter and why they support this claim. If you're not sure about these forms of evidence, we've got little handouts here that have the article evidence, that's this first one here, the energy cube model, that's this one here, and the third one, which is thermal energy and size demo, where we had cups of water. So grab this piece of paper, use it on this reasoning tool. Once you have the reasoning tool completed, I want you to compose your claim here and then copy and paste it into the assignment on Google Classroom. You're going to write a claim about, well, actually, you know what? I'll just make another video explaining this. Don't worry about that right now.